Last year's Manx Grand Prix was a really special one. The event celebrated its 100th birthday, and what a century it's been.
For 100 years, riders have been testing their skills on the mountain course. Many riders have raced here, including multiple world champion Jeff Duke, Bob McIntyre and Michael Dunlop. The Manx started many road racing careers, including 16 times TT winner Ian Hutchinson.
Joe Yeardsley, he wins the Senior Manx Grand Prix, and it's a new lap record for the race as well.
Some incredible moments. The Manx is proud to celebrate its past, but it also looks to the future, helping to nurture the future, the next generation of TT riders.
Last year's Senior Manx Grand Prix winner Joe Yeardsley made a seamless transition to the TT this year.
Joe Yeardsley up behind Baz Ferber. Whoa, Yeardsley looked to the inside and then thought better of it.
You've got to take things in baby steps. It's not a sport that you can rush, and the Manx Grand Prix is a massive thing, and I mean, it's great to bring newcomers through for their TT career.
Michael Dunlop won his Manx Grand Prix in 2006, and we all know what he went on to do.
You've won at the Manx Grand Prix. What's your next step regarding the Isle of Man?
I'll be back to the TT next year, 600,000, so.
Overtaking his Uncle Joey's 26 TT wins this year, finishing TT 24 on an unbelievable 29 victories.
After the excitement of TT24, what about the Manx Grand Prix 24? Well, the big change for this year's event is the introduction of an additional race, the Classic Junior, which last ran in 2019 with an entry full of TT stars. We'll see that race a bit later. This is the first of our 2 shows from the Manx Grand Prix this year. We'll also have action from the Senior Manx Grand Prix, but first it's the Manx Grand Prix Supporters Club, Junior Manx GP, and Cam's on the grid.
As if racing the Isle of Man isn't tough enough, this practice week has been constantly affected by high winds, rain. It's been so challenging for the riders and teams. We're here for the Junior Manx Grand Prix, the first race of the festival, and what a cast. We've got there Maurizio Bodolico on a Kawasaki. He finished 3rd in last year's race. Andrea Maiola, Italian rider on the Italia patent machine, finished 2nd in last year's race. And here we are, we'll have a quick word with British rider Dan Ingham. Dan, have you got a second here? Podium last year in the senior, now in the junior. You must be pretty hungry to get on that podium. Been looking strong in practice all week. How are you feeling heading into the junior?
Yeah, ultimately that's the main goal. Would be good to be on the podium at the end for sure. Give the castings technology what they deserve, basically, you know. But yeah, practice has been good. Feeling pretty good. It's just to see now what we've got some dry track, what people can do.
You're looking calm and collected, Dan. All the best.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
It's going to be a cracking race. Last year's race was so close. I'm sure we can expect more of that today.
2 minutes.
The riders are now lining up for the first race of the Manx Grand Prix 2024. Cam's dashing to the commentary box to join fellow race commentator Dave Moore.
This is it. Finally, the wait is over. 3 laps await for our first outing around the magnificent 37 3/4 long TT course. There will be compulsory pit stops for every rider at the end of lap 1, regardless of whether they need fuel. The gods have thrown everything, it seems, at the Manx Grand Prix this year. There's been a lot of talk about Hollywood movies being made about the TT. This event We'll have the writers updating their scripts as the first riders make their way out. Alongside me, Cameron Donald. It has been unprecedented.
It certainly has, but we're away racing now, and that's all that matters. On board, Dan Ingham, very experienced competitor at the Manx, heading off third on road aboard his Aprilia.
Yeah, Super Twins now the machines for the Junior Manx Grand Prix.
Seeing quite an international cast there. Italian, Spanish, French riders all leaving the line in the first handful of competitors to take on the course in this first race of the event.
Though, don't forget, of course, last year, Victor Lopez from Spain won the Junior Manx. The year before, Francesco Caringa, the first ever Italian to win a Manx Grand Prix race back in 2022.
Oh, now we see Maurizio Bottolico coming through on the Kawasaki. He's just past the lack of adhesion flag, and you can see why. That strip of water, Dave, coming across the course in the exact same place that it was during the TT.
Here comes Dan Ingham, 7th in this race last year. You can just see there as he goes through that stream you're talking about, Cam.
On board, Maurizio Bottolico from San Marino this year aboard a Kawasaki ER6. Last year he was on the patent day, so he's changed manufacturers. It'll be interesting to see if that can help him in his result in this year's Junior Manx.
Well, he lapped at over 116 miles an hour here at the Manx Grand Prix in 2023. We are riding with the man who leads at the moment, 5.1 seconds ahead at Glen Helen. And it's a very continental top three at the moment. Crenio, the Frenchman, in third. So here we are at Balacry, and already Maiola catching Bottolico on the road, although they are the top two on the leaderboard. This is the man in fourth place right now, Dan Ingham.
And aboard that Aprilia, tucked in as he heads up towards the Balacry jump. Oh, nice and smooth.
But Dan Ingham in fourth place, Liam Chalk back in fifth, Michael Garn in sixth, but this is the man who continues to lead. Unfortunately, Michael Rees, we've been told, is a retirement. He's out of green, but as he goes through,
Maiola slipstreams past Maurizio there.
It's the fastest part of the course, the run into Sulby.
Of course, these are the riders. They're the riders that finished second and third last year, so where are they going to finish in this Junior Manx Grand Prix?
We just saw a spectacular Liam Chalk at Balacry, but we're on board with Bottolico.
Oh, he's not going to let him go. Shows the front wheel, no, makes the pass into Ramsey Hairpin.
They're scratching their way around.
Wow, that really is short circuit stuff there. No love lost between these two riders that, Dave, I know for a fact are actually quite good friends.
Wow. So there you go, folks. We're with the man in third position, Julien Crenio.
A French rider riding this year with the Ian Locker team, hugely experienced team. Of course, Ian Locker, multiple Manx winner himself, passing on some of that knowledge now to Julien.
So it's now the run across the top of the mountain. Ramsey all the way back to Douglas. Bungalow's the next timing sector. And from there, it's down to the grandstand.
Oh, how's the sunshine? Look at that. Absolutely postcard picture perfect. They make their way up through the bungalow, but Maiola has now gapped Bottolico. He's definitely pulling away as they make their way up over the mountain for the first time.
Yeah, 10.2 seconds was the gap at Ramsey between Maiola and Bottolico. And don't forget as well, Cam, they've got to come into the pits at the end of this lap, even if they don't need to take fuel on board. They have to come in, put their foot down, and then can continue again. On board with Jason Corcoran. Oh, that's Michael Garn who comes flying past.
Well, he's made up on 20 seconds now, Dave, so he certainly is on a mission. He's not going to be held up on his way over the mountain.
Yes, so again, beautiful conditions here now.
Listen to that pattern. Parallel twin 650cc machine. They're really highly tuned, production based, but boy, they're fast, these bikes. Running to the super twin rules, the same as we would see at the TT, parallel twin bikes.
This, of course, Cam, is a class that's been dominated by Kawasaki. Pattern have been involved in recent years, and now it's great to see Aprilia as well.
Yeah, well, we've had Suzuki from the start. We also got Yamaha on board as well now, so quite a broad range of machines. Oh, look at this slow-mo. Andrea Maiola there aboard the pattern. Look at that colour scheme. Inspired by a fighter plane there with the teeth on the front of the bike. Awesome.
So here we are, compulsory pit stops, and you suggested that some would be taking on fuel. I would imagine because it would be hard to judge, would it, how much fuel to take?
Absolutely. This will just be a splash and dash as quickly as the riders can get into that pit, waste absolutely no time, straight back out there.
So there is our race leader leaving, and he's going on the run down towards Bray Hill, just inside the pit limiter, and away he goes.
60km/h pit lane limiter, Dave. You hear the bikes there hunting away as they ride into that limiter and then back on course and back to 100% throttle.
So Maiola goes through. He is still leading at the end of lap 1, leading on the leaderboard, leading on the road. Here's Dan Ingham, cap back on, and away he goes. That's the advice, just keep going to Julien Craigno.
He's getting some advice in that pit stop there, just letting him know his race position. Keep him calm, get him back out there.
That position, of course, he's now 4th. He was 3rd earlier on. Dan Ingham in 3rd place at the end of lap 1. And this is what they've got now. The first sector out to Glen Helen, 9 miles roughly the distance from the grandstand to the first timing point. And here is our race leader.
Oh, Maiola, look at him, so smooth, quicker through there, definitely in the first lap. The riders now, they're up to speed, they know the course, they know where those don't patches are, and they'll make the use of that knowledge on this second lap to be able to just push that envelope a little bit further.
Maurizio Bottolico, 2nd on the road and still 2nd on the leaderboard up into Sarah's Cottage. You've got to get the exit right here, haven't you, for the power along Kronkivodi?
Yeah, absolutely do. It's all about getting drive from here. You build on that drive all the way up onto Kronkivodi Straight.
Julien Craigno, having lost 3rd place, looking to regain it. So next interview, number 14, Julien Craigno on the pattern.
Yeah, Julien was a newcomer last year, and it's obvious that Ian Locker saw some potential in the young Frenchman, has got him on board for this season with the ILR team.
Also worth noting, Cam, we have a Patton in 1st place, a Kawasaki in 2nd, and a Aprilia in 3rd.
Fantastic, and riders from 3 different countries as well, Dave. Just shows how international the Manx Grand Prix is.
We're on board there with Bottolico, and it is, yes, 22.6 seconds, that gap between Maiola and Bottolico.
Oh, as we see Liam Chalk just wrestling his Kawasaki.
Maiola over Balacry. And on board again with Bottolico. This is just coming up to Balacry now, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic line. Nice, smooth, straight back down on the tank. Asking everything and a little bit more from that ER6 Kawasaki. Bottolico becoming quite experienced Manx competitor, really knows his way around this course.
And great to see so many Continental riders mixing it with the likes of Dan Ingham. He's certainly on for a better result than he achieved last year.
Andrea Maiola having a brief look over his shoulder there as he heads out of Ramsey Hairpin. See the lack of adhesion flag there, just letting the riders know this is a section of course that does take a long time to dry out. Even half a day after it stopped raining, the water wants to hold around the edges of the course and on those white lines where it doesn't get the sunshine.
The gap now, 25 seconds between this man in 2nd place and Maiola, who's already gone through. So Maiola, sector after sector, consecutively quicker than anyone else.
There's Dan Ingham on his way through. I must say, Dan's just looking so smooth. He's an experienced competitor, but just looks at one with that bike. He has been racing that same machine for several years. He should be comfortable with it.
Into the bungalow, still race leader, Andrea Maiola. They're at about halfway distance now. Maurizio Bottolico just coming around the veranda now into the bungalow.
Oh, beautiful knee over the curb.
Oh, red flag. We have a red flag, Cam.
No, red flag will stop the race. We hope everyone's okay first and foremost, but the riders will be pulled over now as the course is neutralised at the first possible position.
A crash involving Chris Moffat at Balacry was the reason for the red flag, and Chris's condition is said to be stable in hospital. The organisers of the Manx Grand Prix Juniors race were hoping to rerun it at the end of Monday's schedule. However, the organisers felt there wasn't enough time to do so. So therefore, a result was declared, and the victory goes to Andrea Maiola, with Maurizio Bottolico in 2nd and Dan Ingham in 3rd.
Andrea Maiola, congratulations on this win. You've gone one better after your second place last year. How did you find the race?
When I make the first lap, I'm okay, Andre. You are in other word. I am only focused for the win, and I make this with my team, with my sponsor. I'm the dream come true. After 30 years, I think it's all perfect. The bike perfect, team perfect. I'm perfect. All perfect. I'm really happy. Yeah.
Maurizio Bottalico, congratulations. It was a solid result, but you had a few bike issues out there.
I have a little problem in sixth gear. Last year, third place. This year, second place. Next year, so.
Third place, Danningham. You're clocking up those podiums now. How was the race for you?
Oh yeah, mega chuffed. Finally happy to get the castings technology 660 on the podium for once, you know. Been trying to do this for the past 3 years now. So, over the moon.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thanks very much, cheers.
A great win for Andrea Maiola. Next up, it's the Classic Junior Manx Grand Prix. Welcome back to the Manx Grand Prix. Due to the adverse weather on the Isle of Man and a shortage of time, the organisers have decided to run the Carol Nash Classic Senior Manx Grand Prix in a combined race with the two-wheeling Classics Classic Junior Manx Grand Prix machines. Cam's on the grid now, talking to John McGuinness, who sets off at number 1.
So we're here on the start line for the Classic Senior combined with the Junior Manx Grand Prix. Of course, it's the senior bikes that'll start, and at the very start of that race will be John McGuinness carrying the number 1 out on road first. Now, John, you've been to more races at the Isle of Man than most. I mean, the weather really has been nothing short of atrocious this week. Can you remember anything else like it?
Not at all. No, I've done 113 TT starts and many Manx and Classic TT starts. I've never known it, but what's tricky is some of the damp patches I've never seen before, like onto Mountain Mile and like before the gooseneck. So they're the ones that, you know, my muscle memory, I sort of know where they are, but there's other ones that are just so nice, the really curveballers. So all the experience you've had, you know, it's a clean sheet of paper, and I want to get the bike around safely. There's a couple of guys who are going to probably, you know, roll the dice a bit more than I'm prepared to do, and you know, they've got to get around as well. But just thanks to all the marshals, they've been out there for hours, and everybody's been, all the people that have come across. It's good that we're on the track to see some action.
Mate, we're looking forward to seeing you out there, and all the best with it.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
As we look down a bit further down the grid now, behind John on the Pat and the Italian machine, we've got a couple of British bikes, which were traditionally the bikes that made up this class back in the day. We've got the 500cc Manx Norton there, and we've also got the ES2 Norton, the New Zealand prepared bike with Mike Brown on it, back in third on the grid there. We'll see if we can get a quick word with Jamie Coward that's on the number 2 Norton. Jamie, you finished on the podium here several times. You haven't quite got that top spot yet. Do you think it could happen today?
Possibly. You know, the conditions playing to our favour a little bit. You know, with it being a bit damp, I suppose, and no one's actually seen the course conditions. So we'll just have to. We'll just see how we get on. And really, I want to bring the bike home. You know, it's been a tough week for everyone involved. You know, with the organisers, the teams, and stuff. And the bike's been going really good. Yeah, we'll just see where we're at the end. The pattern obviously has got a bit more straight line speed, and obviously the Norton handles a little bit better. So it's tough, you know, especially with us with 1 lap now. It's going to be tough, but we'll try his best and just see where we are at the end, like I said.
All the best with it, mate.
We're about to see true classic machinery in the Classic Senior Manx Grand Prix. Let's get over to our race commentators, Dave Moore and Cam Donald.
It's time for what is now a combined Classic Senior and Junior race here, and also it's just over 1 lap distance, but what a lap it is, Cam, 37 3/4 miles. And the scene is set for the combined Classic Senior Junior race. Away at number 1, a man who's won this on 3 occasions in the past, John McGuinness.
Current race record holder, current lap record holder in the class. Number 1, none other than the 23 times TT winner.
So away he goes, and away at number 2, that is Jamie Coward.
Yeah, Jamie Coward on the Craven Manx Norton, and there's Mike Brown, third on road on the ES2 Norton, all the way from New Zealand, that bike.
So McGuinness and Team Winfield, no strangers to victory here, as Sean Anderson gets away 4th place for him last year.
On board, John McGuinness, as he makes his way down through Union Mills aboard the Italian-built Patton. Look at that, revving up to 12,000 RPM. That twin-cylinder 500cc machine.
On the Yamaha, Paul Jordan goes at number 8.
The Yamaha Paul's aboard is another twin-cylinder machine, so it really is the twins versus the British-made singles in this one, Dave.
This is the drop down Bray Hill with Paul Jordan, even on a classic bike. Awesome.
No matter what you're on, heading through that dip, it's heart in your mouth.
So here comes John McGuinness, a good opening sector time to Glen Helen. A lot of wet patches as well there, Cam.
Yeah, the riders have to contend with that, as did Glenn English. A little slip there on the white line. Glenn's the first 350cc junior bike through on his Honda.
We're back with the 500s in the seniors. This is Paul Jordan, and it could be Dominic Herbertson that he's catching, is it?
Slipstreams past Dom aboard that magnificently presented Manx Norton.
Into Glen Helen, 2 bikes together.
Mike Brown, geez, he looks so fast on that machine, tucking him well. He's already caught and passed Jamie Coward on road. Not far out of that first sector, that's impressive. Both single cylinder mounted, Manx Norton versus ES2 Norton.
Well, here comes our race leader, John McGuinness. It was 4.7 at Ballaugh over Sean Anderson. Adam McLean up in the 3rd place ahead of Mike Brown, but we're riding with McGuinness. This is the approach up to the hairpin.
Oh, if you want to see how to ride the Isle of Man course, look at John's line. Pinpoint perfect as he was heading up towards a yellow flag there.
But Mike Brown just in 4th place at the last timing sector. He was 3rd at Glen Helen. It is tight.
Sean Anderson has made some ground up. He's also passed Jamie Coward. It looks like he's on his way to catching Mike Brown.
And here is Dan Sale.
Oof. Ooh, past Glenn English there like Glenn was in reverse.
So through Glen Helen they go. And again, we keep mentioning these wet patches on the road.
Yeah, there's certainly challenging conditions for these riders. Back on board with Paul Jordan on the twin-cylinder Yamaha. Who's he caught up here? Now that looks like James Hillier.
James Hillier going at his favourite number 5.
James Hillier on the beautiful little single-cylinder Vincent. The grey flash. Whoa!
That was close.
Yeah, some magnificent bikes out there. Different brands, different engine styles. Back on board, John McGuinness on his way into the Craig.
Yeah, John McGuinness still leading, however, Sean Anderson in 2nd place. That gap was 4.7 seconds at Ramsey. And John McGuinness, as we go back with Paul Jordan. Now here's Hillier trying to retake that position on the road.
Now I think what we're seeing happen here is James Hillier making the most of that slipstream, but will he have the speed? No. That twin cylinder is just that bit quicker than the single. James is just doing everything he can to use that slipstream to hang on. Whoa, Dan Sale.
Yeah, he's coasting. That engine's cut.
It was certainly going very, very well before, but they usually do go well just before they go bang, Dave.
Yeah, that's on the approach into Ramsey. Well, John McGuinness was leading by 2.3 seconds at the bungalow. Adam McLean still in 3rd place from Mike Brown, with Sean Anderson in 2nd. McGuinness crosses the line now. The gap was 1.1 seconds at Crocknamona.
Oh, it's close. How will Sean Anderson go, though, up against the master?
Yeah, 3 times a winner of this race. Here comes Sean Anderson now. Sean Anderson is taking the checkered flag. It's going to be close. Oh, boy, a 1/10 of a second. He's won it. Sean Anderson takes an incredible Cam. There is confirmation of that result. My goodness, Sean Anderson snatching it from John McGuinness right at the end. Adam McLean rounding off the podium.
In the closest race around here I've ever seen. Classic junior results. Harley Rushton takes the win as a newcomer from Glenn English. Last time Glenn rode here was back in 2000 when he won the senior.
Sean Anderson, first place. What a race that was. The gap was closing and now you're here taking the win. How was it for you?
I mean, I'm really lost for words. I mean, a win always seemed to elude me, and I mean, I think John came pretty fresh out of the blocks. I have always gone with the idea of no pit boards. I think in a one-lap race it's really a bit pointless anyway, but go as fast as you can for as long as you can and be happy with your day's work. And it seems to have paid out by 0.1 of a second.
John McGuinness, a second place for you there. How did you find the race?
It seems like I've lost the time on the last sector. I think I was a second up at Cronknamola, which is that short little bit back here, and I just, in the wet, it was really wet through the bottom of the Governor's Dip. It's so easy to throw it on its side. So, you know, I'm not saying Sean rolled the dice, he just had a better feeling through there, but fair play to Sean.
Adam, third place there by 0.1 of a second. That must be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's nice. Definitely not much in it, and yeah, it's nice to be back in here at the podium and back in 2018, away for 6 years, so didn't think I'd be back in here, but certainly nice.
Sean Anderson! An absolutely fantastic podium for the Carol Nash Classic Senior Manx Grand Prix. Join us here after the break where the wheels will be rolling for the Millcrease Group Senior Manx Grand Prix. Welcome back to the Manx Grand Prix. It's time for the Millcrease Group Senior Manx Grand Prix over a shortened 2 laps. And Cam's on the grid now.
It's a super sport race, the Senior Manx, and first away on road will be Daniel Ingham. Dan, we're just going to come over and see if we can grab a quick word. How you going there, Dan? We've seen you on the podium already in the junior. Now, of course, this is a big one.
It sure
the
is.
Senior Manx. Now, you finished third and second in this race, so first is all you've got left to do.
I hope so. No, we're on a brand new GYTR from Castings Technology this year. It handles a hell of a lot better, and we'll have to see what it's like. It's not ideal out there, I don't think, but we'll just have to see what happens after these 2 laps.
The weather has been nothing short of challenging during practice week. I mean, you have ridden out there with some damp patches, so you're expecting the same today?
I think so, yeah. Just take it steady, you know, there's always another day. And hopefully we've got enough in it at the end, but we're going to do what we can do, get our head down and get going.
We know you're capable of doing the job, mate. We wish you all the best with it.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
All right, let's have a look down the grid a little bit further. Maurizio, you've already been on the podium in the junior. How are you feeling going into the senior?
I hope finish in first position, but I don't know the condition of the street. First lap, I look the condition. Second lap is for the race.
Well, it's good to see you smiling. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see these riders. They're excited. They know what they're about to take on. They're full of nerves, full of excitement. Let's go see them race.
Dan Ingham approaches the line to set off first for the Millcrease Group Senior Manx Grand Prix. Cam's on his way to the commentary box, so over to you, Dave Moore.
Thank you, Grace. We're all set then for the Senior Manx Grand Prix. 37 3/4 miles. Obviously, it's a reduced race distance, but it is still going to be an awesome, epic duel nonetheless. So first away then, Dan Ingham at number 1. This is it. Away they go. That infamous tap on the shoulder, Cam.
Oh, there's nothing quite like it, but Daniel Ingham knows the drill. He was first on road in the senior last year. He was on the podium last year. He's taken second and third in this race in the last 2 years. Can he go one better this year?
Well, Maurizio Bottalico will be going all out as Dan Ingham is going all out down Bray Hill for the first time. And as I was saying, Bottalico will be going all out to make sure that Dan Ingham doesn't get that win.
Bottalico already on the podium in the junior.
Here is Ingham, nice and neat, around Quarter Bridge. Next away, number 5, Chris Cook.
Yeah, Chris Cook, Scottish rider aboard the 600cc Kawasaki. Of course, the senior Manx Grand Prix is Supersport rules.
So this is Michael Rees going at number 6.
What a well-presented machine, bikes and leathers on point.
Get a clear picture, of course, once they get to Glen Helen, 9 miles from the start. This is Danningham through Union Mills. We saw him get excellent speed out of Quarterbridge to really attack this section.
Yeah, Dan's one of the few riders in the 120 plus mile per hour club in this race. So he's got the experience. He's on board a new bike, a new R6 this year. Can it all come together and see him win his first Manx?
The trouble for him, though, is that it is a very strong field of riders as we watch Damien Horan coming out of Quarterbridge. Maurizio Bortolico providing the pictures as he makes his way out towards the west of the island.
Yeah, talking to Maurizio before the start of this race, he was super focused and pumped.
Going into Greba Castle.
Bike doesn't sound quite right to me, Dave.
Oh, and he's got his hand up as well.
Oh no, that'd be heartbreaking after finishing on the podium in the junior. As I said, he was so focused for this race, he was really up for it.
Pulls in at Greba Bridge, Maurizio Bortolico, and it looks permanent, that one. Glen Helen then, Dan Ingham. So he puts down the first sector time.
I must say, Dan, he always looks super smooth, whatever bike he's riding. As he makes his way up here past Sarah's cottage. See still plenty of damp patches on the road for these riders to contend with.
Oh, they were warned. There was a long list before the start of this race of damp patches all the way around the 37 3/4. So into Glen Helen comes Chris Cook.
Chris negotiating those wet puddles.
Now then, this is Dan Sale. We wondered whether he would make it. He was due to go at number 9. He retired. Well, he retired in the earlier race, Cam, and he's had to make his way back. So they're letting him go from the end of the pack, the end of the field. So drama here for Dan Sale, but he's made it just in time. He's that with seconds to spare. Incredible. As through into, it's Sam Johnson coming through and already having caught up with Michael Rees through Glen Helen.
And this is far from ideal for Dan, but at the end of the day, he's made the start, and he's made the start, so there's hope for the race, because regardless of the traffic he's going to have to encounter, it is still him against the clock.
Yeah, so Dan Sale, well done. He's made it with seconds to spare. Got a lift back to make it to the start of this race. He'll have a lot of traffic to contend with. And here is Damien Horan coming through.
Oh, nice wide line there through dust on the edge of the road, but round the outside of the water patches, so it's working for him.
Dan Forbes just coming through Crosby.
Suzuki mounted. He makes his way up towards Crosby Leap. This is a section where you really grit your teeth, no matter how many times you've gone over this high-speed line crest in top gear.
It's Dan Ingham who leads this race, 5 seconds from Johnson Cook in 3rd place. Dan Sale, though, a long way down the road.
He's already making his way through, and I'm sure that will not be the last rider he passes. He'll be coming up to traffic that he's lapping much faster than. But he's an experienced competitor. He'll know how to work his way through.
Dan Ingham continues to lead, and he continues to increase. It's 11.2 seconds at Ballaugh Bridge over Cook, who's now 2nd ahead of Johnson, just a couple of seconds between them. But we are riding with the race leader coming in out of Schoolhouse to Parliament Square.
Chris Cook through the bottom of Bagarrow. Whoa! The Kawasaki shakes its head as he works his way down through Milltown. Listen to that bike, how. Whoop, there you go, Dan Sale again. He's passing riders there. Rider with a bib on. That's obviously a newcomer.
Yeah, I think that's Liam Thornton.
Yeah, he'll be wondering where Dan Sale's come from.
Uh-huh.
Past Black Dub.
So number 7, Sam Johnson, who was in 2nd place at Glen Helen, has dropped to 3rd at Ballaugh. Now with Julien Craignot, the French rider, coming through Kurt Michael. This is some experience, especially with 2 bikes ahead of you.
This is not where you want to encounter traffic. This is one section of the course that is absolutely single line as you thread the needle curb to curb to curb to make your way through there. I want a Shockaroo Irish rider. Listen to that 675 Triumph triple house.
Beautiful noises around this beautiful island. Julian Craignew again providing the pictures.
He's struggling to get past these riders ahead. Hard under brakes.
Yeah.
Black Bridge up the inside. Got to wash off that speed because you're about to send it to orbit.
Yeah, he did him there. I mean, that's doing them on the brakes, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. It's absolutely spot on place to pass someone holding you up.
Worry about being held up. Dan Sale, although he's going through them like the proverbial knife through hot butter.
He may have started last on road, Dave, but he's already up to an impressive 11th position by Balaf Bridge.
And here is Dan Ingham, and this is impressive. He goes into the gooseneck. What a view that is.
Not easy to lead on road, not easy to be first away in these testing conditions where we know there's damp patches, but Dan Ingham is handling it brilliantly.
And handling his way brilliantly through Milltown. That's Michael Garn.
Listen to that, Dave. It's music to the ears.
It is. However, what isn't music to the ears of Cook is that he's 15.2 seconds down on Ramsey. He's lost 4 seconds from the run from Balaf Bridge to Ramsey on Dan Ingham.
Chris Cook, he's improving each year. He was 6th in this senior in 2022, 5th last year in 2023. So he's improving, but probably not enough to match this man, Dan Ingham, because he is certainly the man to beat at the moment.
You're right, Cam. You are so right. Dan is just being quicker on every sector so far through this. Back with Julian Craignew. This is into Solby, the straight, the fastest part of this 37 3/4 miles, and he just goes through straight line speed.
Yep, and using that slipstream, absolutely tapped to the mat in top gear there for quite a long time.
But Dan Ingham then coming down from Cates to the Craig. The Senior Manx Grand Prix, 2 laps the race distance, and here is the man leading at the end of lap 1. Dan Ingham crosses the line.
This is the one, this is the Senior Manx. Will this be where we see our next TT stars coming from? It's a who's who, and the list of previous Manx winners have all stepped up and done brilliantly at the TT. None other than last year's Senior Manx winger, Joe Yeardsley.
Stephen Smith the year before that. You go back to Nathan Harrison back in 2019. Across the line now, though, still on for a podium at the moment is Cook. Meanwhile, Ingham out of Quarter Bridge.
2-lap dash this one, so no pit stop, no refuel, no visor change. Just full focus for that 2 laps.
But Sam Johnson still also in the chance, or in with a chance, I should say, of a podium finish in this race.
Once again, these riders now, they've done 1 lap, so they know the conditions, they know the course. And you can expect the sector speeds to just be that little bit quicker on a flying lap, Dave.
Dan Ingham out of Ballagary. Heading out, the sunshine not there that we saw earlier.
May not be sunny, but at least it's dry.
It's very true. Well, not all the way around maybe, but certainly the majority of the track is dry. We still have those damp patches that they've all been warned about. Wow.
How good does that sound?
So here is Dan Ingham continuing to stretch that lead. Leading at the end of lap 1, and that's another fast sector. It's Dan Ingham's race to lose as Julian Craignew comes through Bedstead.
Really impressive ride from Julian. The rider up ahead glances back, just gives him a little bit of room as he winds his way down into, without doubt, one of the slippiest parts of the circuit.
Yeah, and you don't want to overrun there either, do you, Cam?
No,
we won't talk about that. Okay, Dan Ingham through Hanleys he goes.
Wow, what an awesome part of course there. I always say you're threading the needle through that section, really from the hedge to the stone wall, down on through McGuinness's, to the top of Big Arrow.
Here is Sam Johnson, as you can see, he was in a solid 3rd place at the end of lap 1. Oh, still plenty of water being kicked up.
Daniel Forbes aboard the Suzuki as he heads on down through Gorse Lee, 5th gear through here, right out to the edge of the course. Super commitment.
Back at Glen Helen.
Michael Rees See the riders just keeping the bike a little more upright there. They're not committing to that lean angle that they generally would through that part of the course when it is dry.
Julian Craigno, maybe, perhaps, had he not had those couple of riders to contend with as he comes out of Ballacrane, maybe might have been closer to the top three than he is at the moment as Michael Garm goes through at Glen Helen. So Dan Ingham continues to lead. 23.1 seconds at the end of lap 1, 25 seconds at Glen Helen over Cook, who was 11 seconds ahead of Johnson. Here's Dan Sale, though, still making his way up through the riders.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether Dan Ingham is getting pit boards or lap signals, whether he'll consolidate that lead and back off a little bit.
Not backing off is Chris Cook. He goes through Milltown down towards Schoolhouse. But here is Dan Ingham.
And this will give us a good idea of the conditions. We come out of Ramsey Hairpin up under this section that always holds the damp. Yellow flag there just warning riders that there is a major lack of adhesion ahead.
Here is Sam Johnson still hanging on, if that's the right phrase, to third place. So the gooseneck, the climb up the mountain.
About now, Dan will be talking to that bike. He'll know that his first Manx Grand Prix is just a little under half a lap of the course to go as he comes up over this mountain section. Will he let himself get excited at the prospect of the win, or will he just draw his focus back on the next turn ahead?
And Michael Garm still trying to fight his way towards the podium. It's a little bit tighter for third place, it has to be said. But here's Cook into the gooseneck, I should say. But Chris Cook on his way now, also climbing. As I said, he's just not had the same speed as Ingham throughout. But Chris Cook, it will be a very good second place if he can stay in that position. But here is Dan Ingham around the crag. Meanwhile, back at the gooseneck, Julien Craigno, the French rider. Can he push on and maybe snatch a podium position at the end of this race?
Yeah, well, it certainly is a good battle here for the minor placings, and these riders, whether they're aware of that or not, they'll all be just pushing as hard as they can. They know this is only a two-lap race. They know there's absolutely not a second to spare.
He crosses the line now. Dan Ingham wins the Senior Manx Grand Prix. What a ride. Couldn't be betted in any of the sectors.
What a fantastic, well-earned win for the 31-year-old British rider.
This is how the Senior Manx Grand Prix finishes. Julien Craigno takes fourth place ahead of Garn and Stewart. Sam Johnson third, Chris Cook second, but Dan Ingham, the Senior Manx Grand Prix winner.
Dan Ingham, you already have a third and second place trophy in this class, but now a win with a strong lead as well. How does that feel?
It's a massive relief. I've been wanting this for a long time. You know, massive thanks to Rich from Centenary Technology for putting that bike under me. It's been hard work. Yeah, I wanted it for a long time.
Chris Cook, your progress in this class has been fantastic, and now you're a podium finisher. How was the race for you?
It was a very hard race, being lots of damp patches and not much practice. I thought I was struggling, so I'm in shock to be second place. It didn't feel very good with lots of damp patches. I don't like it damp like that, so I'm shocked to be second. I'm really happy.
Sam Johnson, this year marks 10 years since you've been riding at the Manx, and now you've put it on the podium. You must be really proud of yourself.
Yeah, I finally pulled my finger out, so yeah, here we are. No, really happy. Just calm and just, it's experience, you know, and I feel like I've got a lot more to come.
A fantastic win for Dan Ingham in the Senior Manx Grand Prix. We've had 3 brilliant races so far, Cam, that may have been shortened in length, but they definitely weren't short of drama, action and emotion.
We've had it all. It's been simply incredible. Dan Ingham, what a truly deserved win. The man puts his heart and soul into this sport, finally get that top spot. We've had a couple other brilliant wins as well. The junior class upheld its tradition of recent years of having some international winners. Andrea Maiola taking the win from Spain, and then of course that 500 Manx Classic, Sean Anderson, first win at the Manx and beating John McGuinness of all by just 0.1 of a second. I'll have to go down as one of the closest finishes around the Isle of Man course ever, I think.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible racing, and there's more tomorrow, so be sure to join us here on the Isle of Man for more from the Manx Grand Prix 2024.
goes through.
Mayola slipstreams past.
On board again. Go Grenell!